Shalom Evracha, welcome to the weekly Wednesday Parshas Veschanan. Bez Hashem Yisbarach, we learn a piece in the Heilige Sefer Zereshimshin in Parshas Veschanan Ois Yudalad, Benegea to the Shabbos Nachmu Haba Aleinu Letoiva. We all know the Chazal on the pasuk of the Haftarah that we're going to read this week. Nachmu, Nachmu, Ami Yoim Elekechem. Hashem tells Klal Yisrael that they should be consoled. There should be nisnachim. A double lashon of nechama. Say Chazal, chatu bekeflayim. Klal Yisrael sinned in a double way, as the pasuk says. Chet chata Yerushalayim. V'laksa bekeflayim. Klal Yisrael were punished in a double way, as it says in the pasuk. Ki laksa meyad Hashem keflayim bechol chateiseha. And then the Chama is also twofold. Shenema Nachamu Nachamu Ami. Fragt the Heilige Sefer Zereshimshin brought here in the Zereshimshin. What does it mean? Chotu bekeflayim, double. Does double mean 20 averas, not 10? Why is that called double? What's the concept of double averas? Chi gevil yesh lechet. The Kama chotu bekeflayim. They sinned. What does it mean? Another question, if it's true that because they sinned in a double way, they deserve to be punished doubly in a double manner, as the pasuk says, they deserve to be punished severely because they sinned in a double manner. So why does it say Allah Pesha, Pasha Yerushalayim should say a lashon of mezid, not, or I should say avoid of Yerushalayim. The lashon chet is mashma b'shoigeg. If we tried to bring out the severity, al keilah nida hayasa, they were separated from the Eibishter. So how does that continue from the lashon chet chot Yerushalayim? Imam shoiges, and it was a shoigeg. It is a shoigeg. Chet means is unintentional. So why al keilah nida hayasa? Why would they like a nida? Shkias miyavin. The Eibush does moichal a shoigig. Why should we be punished so severely? Here the Zereshimshin asks something very basic. If it's logical to say, since they sin so severely in a double manner, bekeflayim, therefore yilku bekeflayim, they should get punished a double way, tit for tat, in Cain. Why do they deserve to be nisnachim bekeflayim? Eina din noisen sheis nachmu bekeflayim. Looks like Hashem is consoling Klal Yisrael. Hashem is giving the chama in a double ocean because you were punished in double manner. Well, you're punished in a double manner because you sinned in a double way. So everything is deserving. So why do you deserve to get in the chama bekeflayim? It looks like from Chazal, Hashem's kavayachol feels that you don't deserve such a big punishment, so he give you a double nechama. That's not true. If you're chata bekeflayim, therefore you deserve loku bekeflayim. If you deserve loku bekeflayim, then you don't deserve nechama bekeflayim. So what's the pshat in this chazal? Says the Zereshimshin yesh loima. Mefarshim dikteku b'lashon HaMishnah. The Mishnah says in Perik Dalad in Pirkei Avos, haviratz lemitzvah kala, run towards the mitzvah, and run away from an avera. It should have said grammatically ibarach, not iboireach, and run away from an avera. Says the Zereshimshin, the Mefarshim tell us, the Alshach says this, that it's come to tell a person that a person shouldn't just run away when avera comes. No, a person should be in the mode of being a boirech bin avera, which means if a person's not focused on his life, and he lets life sail, then ultimately he will be nichshel in avera. A person has to be in the mode that I'm running away in the other direction of avera. A person should always be and he should always have a machshava. Am I doing something correct or incorrect? Am I getting close to the edge? Am I getting close to the Avera? If yes, run a mile. A person that doesn't insure, Elam Israshel, and he's lazy, and he says, no, look, if I fall into Avera, it won't be my fault anyway. I'll be a shoygay because I didn't do this intentionally. Then such a person is called Bali Tami. This person is called that he's opening up the door towards Tumah, and then Paischemlei. The Chazal tell us, if a person is not careful, then Hashem Yisbarach will bring it to the next level and will be machshlim in Avera. The Hainu Shemestalik Yemenu Hasiyua Ha'elyoin, Hashem will take away the divine assistance, the Siyata Dishmaya, and then he'll be nichshel in the chait. So the Mishnah says you have to be in the mode of bereach avera. Run a mile away from a possibility of an avera. If a person does that, he takes the first step to make sure that he is not getting close to the avera. Then he will have the siyata dishmaya and he won't sin. But and he's not focused, then he will lose the siyata dishmaya. Once he loses siyata dishmaya, he'll be nichshel in avera, and that will be a shoygig. True. That's what's going to happen. Once that happens, then it is going to spiral out of control. One avera will lead to another avera, and Rechmana Litzlan, the person can then be nichshel in many averas. Continues the Zera Shimshon. The kivan sheyechta pamachas, once he'll sin one time, because he'll lose the divine assistance because he wasn't careful. Bevadai sheyechta v'yechta, he'll sin again. Sha'avera gereres avera. And once he'll do two averas, hutralei. As Chazal say, kivan she'ava adam avera v'shanaba nasaba keheta. It's like it's mutter. And then the averas that come after that, he won't be punished for those averas, because the man just thinks this is mutter. Im Shemhachi says the Zera Shimshon, this is pshat. There's many averas that Klal Yisrael were over in the time of the Churban. Mikol Makom, we called it a chait, shoygig. Why? Because what happened was the first step that they took in the wrong direction was they weren't afraid, they weren't nervous, they weren't preoccupied with ensuring that they're not getting close to the avera. Then they lost the siyata dishmaya. Then they did an avera, and then it spiraled out of control. And avera gereres avera nas lekeheta, and they were nichshel in many averas. But it all resulted because of shoygig. So therefore, those averas later were out of the person's control. So even though they were later b'mezid, but it began from a shoygig, and that's why we call it chet chata b'Yerushalayim. And that's the pshat chata b'keflayim. Why? What's the two averas? We're not talking about 20 averas, 40 averas, 6. No. His rashlus, first step was his rashlus, laziness, lack of focus. That was called balitami. Then they lost the siyata dishmaya. That's called one chet. Chet is a lashon of chisaring. The achakach, they were nichshel in one chet, in a literal avera. This is called bekeflayim. And then they did many averas, but those are the two that we are focusing on. One is not being careful on averas. Second was the avera itself. Me'ata, says the Zera Shimshon. Beautiful. Kishboa Navi Nachman, when the Navi comes to console them, the Navi comes and says, it's Shabbos Nachman. He said to them, Nachman b'kifayim. Why? First, I want you to know, Klal Yisrael. First, I have very good news to share with you, Klal Yisrael. Shabbos Nachmu. That what? The time will come, Hashem will say, although you're not worthy, although you're not eligible from a spiritual standpoint, still, I'm going to take you out of Golus. As the Pasuk says, even though you are in foreign lands, says the Eibishter, I don't despise you. And that's why the Pasuk says, what's the connection? What's the zustel? What's the comparison to Nida? They did one avera that they lost the siyata dishmaya. There was a separation between them and the Eibishter. Nikras Nida. They called the Nida Eine Galmuda. The word Nida means separation. Like Isha Nida is separated from her husband. Klal Yisrael was separated because Klal Yisrael, by making this decision that it's not so bad to do an Avera, we don't have to be overly concerned. they moved away, they distanced themselves from Hashem, and Hashem distanced from them. That's the Nida Yasa. That's the punishment that they got. But here is not just a silver lining, but here's the chizuk in Nida. A Nida is not a Nida forever. After those days go by, even though she doesn't want to purify herself, the husband can force her. She's mechuyev. There's a marriage over here. She has to be matar herself. Hashem says, you're right, double chet, which means it all began from not being aware of the severity of the Aveira. You distance yourself. So I also distance myself. What type of harchaka? Only like a niddah. If it's a niddah, then it has a cutoff point. It's not forever. Time comes, we are matar you. If you don't like it, I'll still be matar you. You are the wife, and you deserve this opportunity of being matar. If you like it or not, this is going to happen to the Eibishter. This is the Nechama B'Kiflayim that Hashem tells Klal Yisrael. The hate was shoygig. It all spiraled out of control because a person didn't understand the severity. It's only like a niddah. And therefore, the day is going to come that you'll be zoicha to come back. Nachmu, nachmu, amu yom Nachmu, nachmu, amu yom elekeichem. The time has come to be matayu. And maybe we can add for state of Beretcha. Al kein niddah hayatza. By a niddah, the halacha is there's no issa yichud with a niddah. Although with other ervas, other aroyos, one may not be in the same room as those people, and that's din deraisa. But a niddah, this doesn't apply because of the din of pas b'salai. Says the Heilige B'nai Yisrael, we are in Golus. It's like a niddah, but the yichud is still mutter. You're still being misyachid with the Eibishter. The afkam zois biyoyse beretzaveim lo ma'astim lo ga'altim lachaloisam. Hashem said, I won't despise you. You can have an intimate relationship with the Eibishter on a constant basis, even in Golus. There's no issa yichud. And the time will come when the Eibishter will be metayr us, be mezachechas. The Eibishter will purify us. It's only a matter of time. We will see the scholars of the Nachmu Amu Yom Elekeichem. It was only a separation, but it wasn't a total disconnection, chas v'shalom, because it all began by your separation. But every Yid, the Pneumius Nafsha, is pure. Every Yid is heilig. Every Yid wants closest to the Eibishter. It's only the golos and the nisyonis and the challenges that make a person have such an attitude that they can be marking themselves. But ultimately, we are deeply connected and deeply rooted with our source, with our shoyrish, with our nekuda pnimi. And the time's going to come, Hashem is going to say, Nachmu, Nachmu, Amu Yom Elekeichem. And this is Pshat Nechazal. The chet was B'Kiflayim. And we punish B'Kiflayim, but we deserve a Nechama B'Kiflayim. Because it's not because of the lack of closeness to the Eibishter that we intentionally wanted Chas v'Shalom. Is because we didn't realize the severity. We weren't aware. It's only like a niddah. But the time will come that the Eibishter Menachmas B'Kiflayim, we should be zoichim with Hashem through the Shabbos Nachmu to get out of this Golos Hamar and zoich to the Bias B'Shef Tzidkenu and the Schus of the Heilige Zera Shimshon Yagin Badenu Levashem B'Dva Yeshua V'Rachmim. A good Shabbos Nachmu.